Hi everyone, it's Ed from Rudderable, and this is my head-to-head of the Asics Megablast and the Adidas Prime X Strung 3. Now on the surface this seems like a bit of a mismatch, but I'm here to tell you today that it isn't. There are some really good attributes of this shoe that I want to highlight today, and obviously continue to sing the praises of what I think is one of the best daily trainers out there in the market. These shoes will go head-to-head. And watch the run footage as well, where I take the Prime X3 on a 20-mile run and I do my recovery run in the Megablast. Okay, so I'm running through Hadley Woods, or Hadley Munken Common as the locals would say. Just run through what's kind of like a bit of an orchard part of it, which is lovely, and they've sorted out the pathway here. It used to be just so boggy, now it's a lot better, so it's good for running. And I love this run, so I can run from here up to Trent Park. This basically, when I come out of these woods, I'll end up very close to Trent Park. I'll do a little loop of that in my Prime X Strung 3s. Then I'll make my way to Oak Hill Park, and then from there Arners Grove Park, across the North Circular, Ali Pali, Highgate Woods, what's the next one, Queenswood, and then from there I'll end up in Highgate, and from Highgate we'll work our way to Hampstead Heath, do a loop of that, and then end up getting some lunch somewhere. So I just wanted to show you a bit of Hadley Woods, Hadley Munken Common, and you can see the terrain, right? It's fine, but it's loose gravel and stuff like that, and this is perfectly fine, these shoes. And actually those that complain about how heavy they are, because you get a nice spring, like I'm going up a hill now, I don't really feel them that much. Definitely not as bottom heavy as version 2, so that's something to bear in mind. I think the reviewers who reviewed this shoe expected it to be like version 1, and as much as I love version 1, it's one of my favourite shoes of all time. These are the kind of runs where I'd be severely worried about my ankle in version 1. It wasn't a versatile shoe. This one is good. It's got a load of light traction grip, bit of continental rubber, but it's also, the fit is so much nicer than the other two. My feet feel absolutely fine in this shoe. You get a nice smooth ride, and so far, what have I done? Just over 4k. It's feeling good, but I'll rejoin you when I'm at Trent Park, and we'll see how I'm feeling then. I'll see you later. Bye bye. Hope you like the woods or the common. See you later. Okay, bye. So you probably, if you've watched quite a few of my videos, you'll have seen Trent Park before. So it's one of my favourite places to run in London, actually. Such a lovely open space. They had built on it, but they built some nice luxury flats. I was a bit aghast to start with, but actually got my head round it a bit, and I realised, you know, they've done them quite nicely. I think once the trees have grown around them and everything else, they start to look a bit better, more in keeping with the landscape. They provide some nice homes for people, albeit people who can afford expensive flats. Not cheap. I think a one bedroom kind of studio flat was up at the £420,000 mark. But they were doing some shared ownership stuff, which is makes it possible for some people. I think they have to do that to get the planning permission in the first place. You look to there, what I'm showing you now, you've got all these lovely fields. You can see miles ahead of you. My club, Trent Park, they've got their home here. Clubhouse is the hockey centre. Really nice place. We all meet on a Thursday night, talk through the past week and go through the up and coming week, and then talk about the runs that were going to happen on the day. It's normally sort of 10k to 12k runs around here. Because it's getting a bit dark now in the evenings, they'll probably do more on the roads runs, which is a shame, but it's just that time of year. Running through a forest in the pitch black, not a good idea. And it's some would say running in the forest with the Prime X's on is not a good idea as well, whatever time of the day it is. But I'm about to do that, so in a minute we'll be coming off this kind of nice stretch. We'll be going down some sort of compacted mudded routes through the woods, where the main thing to avoid are tree roots. And I've come a cropper on my bike at least once going over one of those bloody routes. There can be an absolute nightmare if you're not concentrating. So we'll see how these shoes do over this terrain, and hopefully they'll be all right. Let's have a look. Here we go. So loose gravel, leaves, roots, downhill. What could go wrong? Prime X Strung. What could go wrong? What I would say is you're getting a lot of cushion in this shoe, and the grip is top tier. Anyone who wants a good grip is doing like runs like this, maybe in wetter weather. There's a quality grip you've got in the Prime X Strung 3. To be honest, everything about it strikes quality. The upper, even though it's not my favourite nowadays, absolutely quality upper in terms of the way it's designed. The grip and the outsole, unbelievable. It would take some beating, to be honest. And then you've got the Lightstrike Pro foam, which is dense. So the stuff that was in the 3, there's maybe a little bit of the TPE foam that's in the Pro 4, but only a tiny bit. So that gives you a bit more of a stable ride, but also the properties of that foam, it's dense, but it's long lasting, wears well. So again, I think they thought quite well about the use case for this shoe, how it's going to be used over long runs like this. So they wanted to produce something a bit durable as well as something that's got a nice bounce. So that's why you've possibly not got as crazy a bounce as you would think with the Prime X series. You've also got a plate and some rods. I think that's slightly overkill, to be honest. I think I would like to have seen this with just the rods underneath the red foam. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons it feels quite firm. So it's a bit of a shame, but it's not a bad ride at all. And once you break it in and it feels less firm, it's actually rather nice. Just smoothly cruise along like this. It's a real cruiser, this shoe. And robust cruiser, a chunky monkey, as some might say. But it's a rather nice experience running in this shoe. And for those of you with wider feet, it's also a bit more accommodating in the forefoot. The overall fit of this shoe is so much better than version 2, and that's where the main improvement is the fit and the feel. I've had some real struggles with version 2. This one, good lockdown, and also really nice fit in the forefoot for me. I don't feel like my foot is sliding too much in the shoe, and I also don't feel like it's getting crushed to bits like it did a bit in the other one. I did go up half a size, and I think that was wise. Anyway, I'll see you later, because I'm going to get out of breath now. It's a hill. Bye bye. Right, I'm in Highgate Woods now. It's around about 22k, and yeah, this is where I'm starting to feel tired. It's a really hilly run, this one. Lots of hills, lots of tricky surfaces. Not an easy one. Great training for New York, but not an easy run at all. And we're now in Highgate Woods, and lovely woods. Highgate in general is a lovely place, very affluent place in North London, kind of a bit more bohemian than Hampstead. It's a bit flashy, Hampstead. This is a rich but kind of old English rich, less jazzy, a bit more traditional rich, as the upper classes would say. Not that I would know. But yeah, great place to bring your kids. Nice cafe here. Woods itself amazing. Got these lovely trees that kind of arch over the pathways, which I like. Feels like you're in a tunnel. I'm not going to do lots of this wood, but Prime X's update, doing really well. Just cruising me along with a nice bounce. Nothing ridiculous. It's just, like I said, smooth shoe. And I can safely say it's good for all terrain. This grip is second to none for a road shoe, you know. And it's kind of like these times where good shoes really come into their own. You've done over your half marathon distance, and it's a difficult route. Your legs start feeling knackered, and if you've got bad shoes on, you're going to be screaming, your legs are going to be screaming at your feet. These don't feel too bad. Tiny bit of toe rubbing, but that's basically because I hurt my toe a little bit in the 20-mile race a week ago. So that's why that is. But yeah, absolutely fantastic shoe for going long in, this one, which is just as well, because that's what we're doing. Yeah, so we're around about, like I said, 22 miles, good 10 more, 22k, good 10 more k to go, and I should, if I work things out right, be in Hampstead at the end of this run and get myself a nice beer, maybe in the Flask pub. Oh, I can't go that way. Let's go back. Which is one of my favourite pubs in London. There's a couple of them. This one's the Hampstead one. I think there's another one in... Where's the other one? Is it Crouch End? Could be. Put it in the comments if you know where the other Flask pub is. Let's shut that. Oh no, you can get it. I don't know what they're doing down here. Got to go round to go out. Anyway, counts as extra mileage, Ed. And with that, I'll see you in a bit. Bye bye. So on Flask Walk, one of my favourite little places in London. Loads of antique shops and restaurants and bar, and more importantly, home of the Flask pub. Let's have it. Coming for you, New York. Runnable Ed's coming for you. Let's have it. Okay, let's go through some key stats around the shoes. So if we start with the weight, clear winner here in terms of weight. The Megablast is down at 250 grams in my UK size 9.5. I went up half a size, mainly because of the low volume toe box, which we'll talk about in a minute. And the Adidas Prime X Strung 3, I again went up half a size. I'm 9.5 in this. I always go up half a size in Adidas shoes. They tend to be a bit on the narrow side and a bit on the short side, and that was the same with this shoe. I also think with this shoe, it comes in at a reasonably competitive weight, even though it is 303 grams with all this stack and technology going on. That's not ridiculous, but the clear winner obviously in terms of weight is Megablast. In terms of stack, you've got a 45mm stack in the heel in the Megablast, and you've got that 8mm drop, so you've got 37 in the forefoot. And then with the Adidas shoe, you've got 50mm, as always the case with the Prime X's, in the heel, 7mm drop, so you've actually got 43, a huge amount in the forefoot. So those of you that are forefoot strikers, you're getting a massive amount of cushion here. Just bear that in mind. That's the stack and the weight. Now let's talk a little bit about the uppers of these two shoes. Let's start with the Megablast. So you've got a very lightweight micro mesh upper that actually feels very much like a racing upper. You've got what I would say is just about wide enough toe box. It looks really wide, but you've got quite a bit of sole flare going on here. That's actually a theme of both shoes. You can see with the Adidas shoe, you've also got quite a bit of sole flare. And then you've got quite low volume here. So actually, those of you with fat toes like me, or high volume feet, to put it more politely, you might get some rubbing here. I do slightly. It's got better as I've used it, because this upper does stretch a little bit. It's not the most pliable, not the most malleable, but it does stretch a little bit. It wraps nicely around the foot and keeps your foot nicely in place though. You've got these amazing ridged laces, or saw laces as some people would call them. And then you've got a decently padded tongue at the top here that you can really cinch those laces down. So it's good design really. Lots of daily trainers, they mess up the tongue actually, but Asics have got this one right. You've got decent heel collar. You can see it there, and then you've got some padding around the counter there. And as you can see, it's quite a rigid heel counter. So initially I got a little bit of heel rub, but that's actually gone away. So actually I quite like the feel around my foot and heel. I get a nice lockdown. As you can see, it's really structured, really hard around that area. So it keeps your ankle really nicely in place. So all in all, I quite like the clean design as well. I think this upper does its job. It's very lightweight. You get a good lockdown, and it's got that good structure to keep your foot in that center path, so that you do not like move laterally or medially too much in this shoe. Helps with the stability, which we'll talk about later. So that's the Megablast upper. You know, it's a 4.5 out of 5. I mark it down half a mark because I did get some heel rub a little bit initially, and also it is very low volume, so you might get some toe rub. With the Prime X Strung, you've got the strung upper. This is where you get this interwoven material that they've used machine to do, that wraps quite nicely around your foot. This is probably the best of the three strungs in terms of the feel and the actual fit of the shoe. I still went up half a size because this is quite a harsh material to be squashed in with, and you will get a lot of toe rubbing if you're not careful. But it's wide, it's fairly wide. Although you've got this huge sole flare, you do get this nice wide forefoot area, and it kind of feels like squared off where the toes is, so you get ample room for your toes. Again, you've got this kind of booty style fit where the tongue is actually integrated with the upper. There is no tongue basically, and I really like that. What it does mean though is there's very little protection when you cinch your laces. I'm talking of laces, laces are terrible. These stringy rubbish laces that I should probably change if I could be bothered. So that means you might get a bit of bite, lace bite at the top of your foot, which isn't ideal. And then in terms of lockdown, I get a decent lockdown in this shoe, much better than the second version. You've got minimal padding, but what padding you have in the collar you can see there and here, and it does seem to keep my ankle and heel in place. It's got a lot more flexible heel counter, which I personally prefer. And all in all, it's a vastly improved upper from the first and second iteration of this shoe. So that's a good job by Adidas. I just wish they sort out the laces, and then you'd have a really nice upper. So this one for me is a 4 out of 5, not quite up there with the Megablast. Reasons being the laces are just really annoying and cheap and kind of ruin the feel of the upper. And also this strung material, I'm not a big fan of it. It's very scratchy, very hard on your toes. And towards the end of that 20-mile run I did in this shoe, my toes started to feel a little bit worn down by this upper. Okay, so that's the upper. Now the outsoles. As we can see here, you've got a huge landing pad in the forefoot on both shoes. But the key difference here is that really wide landing area continues to midfoot and heel in the Megablast, but with the Adidas shoe you can see it narrows a lot in the midfoot and stays fairly narrow in the heel area, which means that you've got huge surface area to land on in the outsole in the Megablast, and slightly less in the Adidas shoe throughout. But you've got limited rubber coverage, I would say, in the Megablast. It covers the key areas, but you've got quite a lot of exposed area here, which won't be good for the degradation of the foam. Once you start hitting rocks and various other things, you will get some wear. I get some discoloration at the moment, but nothing too severe. And the grip's decent enough. This Asics rubber, it's got decent treads, as you can see there, tracks in the grip to give you that nice grip. I've used it on wet surfaces and it seems to perform very well. It's a step up from the Novablast and Superblast in terms of grip. I just wish they'd provided a little bit more coverage. You know, if that increased the weight by 10 or so grams, so be it. But it would make this more durable long term. But decent outsole. And then you've got the Prime X Strung, which I think has got one of the best outsoles out there. You've got this light traction grip, superb. And you've got Continental rubber here where you're toeing off. And then you've got some more really grippy rubber in the heel, which all in all, you know, goes to give you a really nice grippy ride. And it's really wide in the forefoot. So as long as you're landing up here, you know, you get really nice grip and it feels quite stable. You can see the rods, the 2.0 rods sticking through there as well. So all in all, I think the winner on this one, the outsole, is going to be the Adidas Prime X Strung 3. It's a 5 out of 5 outsole. The Asics Megablast has got a decent outsole. It's just not quite as good. It's not quite as grippy. And also you've got too much exposed foam. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 for the outsole. Midsoles now. So you've got no plate, just nice and simple foam. And the foam in this FF Turbo Squared is aliphatic TPU. It's got lovely properties where you get really nice energy return, get a nice little bounce, and you get really nice comfortable cushion ride The geometry is you do get a nice rocker towards the end of your foot strike, but as you land it feels rather flat, which gives it that stable feel when you run in this shoe. And then towards the end of your foot strike you get that nice flow through. It's a very smooth, elegant shoe to run in despite its size, despite how big it is. And all in all, this outsole, you know, it's just simple, it's just foam, but the foam itself is amazing, and for that I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 in the outsole. I think it's absolutely superb. Sometimes simple is good, right? And in this case it definitely is. They've got their geometry and they've got the foam spot on, and for someone like me who likes a rockered ride, even though it does feel a little bit flat for my liking, when I land it still feels lovely and bouncy, and you get that great energy return. So good job Asics, 5 out of 5 for this midsole. Adidas, there's a lot going on here, so let's break this down for you. So you have a full length plate here. Above it you've got softish Lightstrike Pro foam. That could be the TPE that we've got in the Adidas Pro 4, but it's definitely softer than this foam, with this Lightstrike foam in the middle, which is sandwiched between the plate and some 2.0 rods that you can see here. There. So this foam is firmer, more dense, takes quite a lot of breaking down, as we're going to talk about in this review. And at the bottom you've got softer foam yet again, not quite as soft as the foam at the top, but softer than the foam that's sandwiched between the plate and the rods. So what does that mean? Well, it means that when you land on the forefoot, you have to hit the ground hard to compress that plate and this firm foam, and then also you're protected a little bit by this soft foam at the top, but not enough for this to feel soft. So even though the Megablast has a firmish ride compared to some shoes like, say, the Neo Vista 2, the Prime X Strung 3 feels even firmer. I think it's because of the plate. There's not a lot of protection for your foot from that plate, so when you land, you feel that harshness of that plate. If you're like me and you're light, I'm 64, 63, 64 kg, I'm not compressing that plate enough, in which case I'm not getting real benefits of it, that spring that you get. And because I'm not compressing the plate enough, I'm not compressing this thicker, more dense foam, and I'm not engaging those rods whatsoever at the moment. So what that means is I get a bit of a harsh ride in this shoe. But that said, it might be a little bit harsh, but once you get used to it, you kind of can flow in this shoe. It's a very smooth ride, and I think part of the reason for that is the geometry. You've got an earlier stage rocker than you have in the Megablast. You can see it starts earlier in the Adidas shoe. It's just as aggressive, but it starts earlier. So when I land, even though I'm landing, I'm not compressing the plate or the foam too much. I'm getting a really nice roll through. And I think over time, once I start breaking this foam down a bit, once I start really getting some force through into that plate, and then getting that compression and decompression from the foam and the rods, I'm going to start to get more and more benefits from this shoe. Just at the moment, I'm finding it a little difficult, but for you heavier runners, this could be an absolutely winning combination, where if you're hitting the ground on your forefoot with force, you'll get that nice twang from the plate as it bends and pings backwards, and it'll give you that really amazing energy return as you compress this really thick foam here and engage those rods. So for me, I struggle a little bit with the setup of this shoe. Too much going on. The harshness of the plate, the denseness of the foam is a little bit too much for my weight. But even so, I think the geometry of this shoe is really nice. If I could have this shoe with an earlier stage rocker, I think it would be almost perfect. But that said, I think there is a little bit too much going on here. I would like the Prime X Strung series to lose either the rods or the plate. Ideally the plate, to be honest. Go back to rods like in the original, and then you could have a really fun ride without it feeling too firm and too severe. For those with toe mobility issues, this could be quite good because you really don't engage those toes too much. It's quite firm, so the rocker and the roll through means that your toes aren't doing much work in this shoe. But those of you with foot problems, with ankle issues, it might feel a bit harsh and might compound any injuries that you've got. So just bear that in mind. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 for the midsole. I think I prefer the foam that's in the Megablast. I think there's just a little bit too much going on here, but in the right hands, I think this could be amazing. So just bear that in mind. If you're a heavier runner, this could be amazing because you'll do all the things I'm not doing. Engaging the plate, you'll be compressing this foam, and you'll be getting really nice decompression and massive energy return from all this technology that's going on there. I just wish that it catered a bit more for us lighter runners, and maybe this foam here could have been that TPE that's in the Adidas Pro 4, and that would have made the ride a bit wilder, a bit less stable, but a lot more fun. And that's all I'll say on the midsole. So yeah, this is a 4 out of 5 midsole, maybe a bit harsh. Maybe for you heavier runners, it'd be more like a 4.5 out of 5. Okay, let's talk about some other categories now. Stability. Right, both shoes actually, given the stack heights, 45, 50, are remarkably stable. Partly due to the big bases they've got. This in the Adidas Prime X Strung in the forefoot only, but with the Megablast throughout the whole shoe. You've got some structure, as we saw in the upper here, and then the strung upper is very structured throughout the shoe. So all in all, both actually feel quite stable. I use this Prime X Strung 3, what can only be described as trail run, through lots of woods, through lots of gravel paths. It wasn't very technical, but what all the tricky areas it handled really well. I think this is a shoe that can literally go anywhere, despite its stack height. With the Megablast, it feels you've got that kind of flattish ride that you feel like you're fully in control. It's kind of a simple shoe that just does what you want it to do, but it does have some structure, that center path technology. So both, I would say, score highly. Stability. Just going to give the edge to the Megablast. I think this is a 4.5 out of 5, and this would be a 4 out of 5. But considering both shoes are massive, I think they score really well on that side of things. Durability wise, it's a tricky one. I've run more in the Adidas shoe, done about 100k in the Megablast now, and probably about 200 in the Adidas Prime X Strung 3. Both are going to be very durable. I think you just can't beat the Prime X in that respect. It's just built like a tank. It's going to last a long time, and I think with this outsole as well, with the more coverage than you've got in the Megablast, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5 for durability. Megablast, I'm only going to mark it down half a mark because of all this exposed foam, but I think it will be fairly durable as well, a bit like the Super Blast. So 4.5 for durability. Speed now. There is only one winner for speed, and it is the Prime X Strung 3. This is a fast shoe, folks. In the right hands, if you're bigger, if you're a bounder, if you're someone that hits the ground hard, you're going to fly in this shoe. Even someone like myself who's not big, took it to a park run 17:20 in this shoe, felt good. It was only let me down when I was turning tight corners, but long straights, this was absolutely fantastic. The Megablast is no slouch either, but it's just not built the same. It hasn't got all these plates and rods, and it hasn't got as aggressive a rocker. So this I see as a kind of marathon pace cruiser, whereas with the Prime X Strung 3, this again is a cruiser. It's a smooth shoe, but when you really hit the ground hard, bound along at fast paces, this goes with you. And in the right course, this could be an absolute weapon in the right hands. So by a long way. I think a 5 out of 5 for pace, for a for a max cushion daily cruiser. It's a 5 out of 5. Megablast is no slouch either. It's a 4 out of 5. So that's pace. And speed. Now let's talk about value for money. The Megablast wins at £210. This is £250. It's if you were to consider this as your do-it-all shoe and you're racing in this shoe, then it might just about be worth £250. I still think it's too much. I find the Megablast too expensive at £210. Again, this could be, though, your do-it-all shoe. You could do your long runs and you could do your half marathon races and marathon races in this shoe. So with that in mind, I'm just going to give it, neither are great value. I'm going to give this one, the Megablast, probably 3 out of 5, and the Adidas shoe 2.5 out of 5 for value for money. Okay, what are they good for? So they're both really good, highly cushioned marathon training shoes, right? You can throw miles at these shoes and they'll react well. Like I said, I did 20 miles in this yesterday. It wasn't till the end that my feet started to get a bit annoyed with this strung upper. But in terms of cushioning, in terms of actually cruising along in a kind of really smooth, really kind of mechanical but efficient way, this shoe is amazing. It's heavy but not too heavy. I didn't really feel the weight on that run too much. So all in all, you can really use this for your marathon training. So just throw mile after mile at it and you're going to have a really good, highly cushioned, energetic shoe on your hands. Very similar with the Megablast. You can go mile after mile in this shoe. It's going to really respond well with this aliphatic TPU foam. You have a more stable ride, a lighter ride than you do with the Prime X Strung, but just not, it doesn't give you quite back the same energy return. So I think that's where the sweet spots are for these shoes, running at marathon pace. In this case, a little bit beyond marathon pace. In this case, you can go slower and at marathon pace and maybe a little bit more up tempo as well, but both good for those. I think if you're going to use these for racing, Prime X is definitely the faster shoe. So for 5k, 10k, it's the Prime X Strung 3 every day. Half marathon, they'd start to align a little bit more, though. I did do a 1 hour 21 half marathon in this shoe, so again it proves that it can move. And then marathon, because of the extra weight in the Prime X, it will be more of an even battle. But I would say if you're going to start using either of these shoes for racing, then the Prime X Strung 3 is the better bet of the shoes. Get more out of this. It's more built for racing because of the technology that's in it. The Megablast for me, whereas you could race in this shoe and you heavier runners may well race half marathons, marathons in this shoe, for me, this is firmly in that long distance cruiser category where you want something to eat at the miles and you want something to be really nice and cushioned and feel really good and really protect your legs. And both do a good job of that and protecting your legs. It's just the Prime X Strung 3 is the better all-round shoe for racing. So that's what they're good for. And let me say which I think is the winner today. So it's not by as much as you would think, right? This was much maligned, this shoe. Lots of reviewers didn't really give it a chance. They panned it because of how firm it feels, how harsh it can feel a little bit on your foot. But as you break this shoe in, it feels better and better, gets better and better. It's a great shoe in the right hands for you heavier runners. I think this is a viable option. Try and get it at a cheaper price. I've seen it's already starting to come down. Adidas are really good like that. They, at some point you're going to see this below the 200 mark. And at that point, for you heavier runners that like to bound along and put a lot of force down, that would be a good time to buy this shoe. It's a really nice shoe for going fast and long, and I think in that respect, you know, it ticks a lot of boxes. It's just too expensive and a bit off the wall in terms of all the technology that's here, and I just wish they'd used a lighter foam in the middle there. And with the Megablast, again, it's your do-it-all shoe. It's got such a lovely, simple configuration, lovely foam, nice feel and stable ride. And all in all, I think the Megablast is my winner today by a smidgen, not the margin you might think. I actually think for those of you who are bigger, stronger runners than me, that put a lot of force down, you might actually get more out of this shoe. But generally, I think this is more versatile, and I think more people are going to enjoy the ride of the Megablast than they will with the Prime X. And you lighter runners, you heel strikers, I would probably stay clear of this shoe. Hope that's helped. I wanted as much today to clear up some confusion around the Prime X Strung 3. It isn't a bad shoe. In the right hands, it could be an amazing long distance cruiser. It's very smooth, but it could be an amazing racer as well. But my winner, like I said today, is the Asics Megablast, one of the best max cushion daily trainers out there on the marketplace, and it's a hard shoe to beat. Put in the comments if you agree with me, if you've tried any of the shoe, and hopefully this review's been useful to you. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, if you like my channel. And obviously, yeah, more comments the better, folks. You know about the algorithm, yeah? Ed Bud says it enough. I'll see you later. Love you all. Bye-bye.